Let me ask you a question. You change your oil filter and your air filter pretty regularly. So why aren't you changing your fuel filter ever? Yes, you heard me right. The fuel filter, guys, it is something that does need to be changed. Although for some reason, none of us ever think about it or even think that it needs to be changed. But when you see the garbage that comes out of this fuel filter that I'm gonna change, that's only a couple years old, you're gonna think differently about it. If you look in your owner's manual of just about any car out there, you will find a service interval for your fuel filter. It is not a particularly big filter, and it is kind of hard to change. You might wanna have a professional do it. But I do want to point out the fact that there are quite a few problems with cars, whether it's running rough or not starting or terrible idle, that all go back to a very clogged fuel filter. And why is that? That is because most people don't ever change the fuel filter ever. Now, I know why, and it's because it sucks. It really does. You gotta get under there, mess with the fuel lines, and there's fuel dripping on you, dripping down your arms. You're breathing fuel vapors. It's terrible. You really might wanna have a professional do it. That being said, it is something that definitely needs to be done. Today, I'm gonna be working on my 1995 GMC Suburban. I've owned this truck for a few years now, but right after I bought it, I replaced that fuel filter. The truck wasn't having any problems at the time. I was just doing a full tune-up on this truck, and I wanted to make sure that fuel filter was changed. So I swapped it out with an OEM AC Delco unit, and everything has been fine ever since. The point is that this fuel filter that I'm about to swap out is only a few years old. Also, this fuel filter doesn't necessarily need to be changed. Like I said, there is no problems with my truck. But I'm gonna do it for you guys because I wanna show you just what can come out of that fuel filter after just a few years. I do admit, this is an older body-on-frame vehicle, and I can get to this fuel filter very easy. It's extremely easy to change, so it's much easier for me to say you need to change your fuel filter than it really is to do it. Yours might be incredibly hard to get to. It might be in a car where it's extremely low to the ground and you got to use jacks and jack stands and all that stuff. Nonetheless, I'm going to show you how to change it, and I'm also going to show you what comes out of it. All right, so changing the fuel filter is a very simple job. I used a couple of adjustable wrenches, went ahead and loosened the nut on each of the fuel lines, pulled the fuel lines out of the ends of the fuel filter, and then slid the filter out of its housing. Then you simply take the new fuel filter and put it into place exactly where the old one came out, paying attention to the arrow of flow. That arrow needs to be pointing towards the front of the car, and hand tighten those nuts back onto the fuel filter, and once they're hand tight, then you can crank on them with your adjustable wrenches again. And guys, that's pretty much it. I do want to say I used a lot of protective equipment to do this. I was wearing gloves, I was wearing a dual respirator mask, and tight-fitting goggles. I wanted to protect myself as much as possible. As you just saw, this truck makes it extremely easy to change that fuel filter. But sometimes it's not so easy. You might have quick disconnect fittings in which you'll need a special quick disconnect tool, or it might be located in an extremely tight space. In any regard, I definitely suggest you have a professional do it. Fuel and fuel vapors are extremely flammable and can ignite with the very slightest of sparks. Definitely do not try this on your own. Now, let's go ahead and take our old fuel filter and dump some of that fuel out in a white bucket so we can see just what comes out of it. Oh, and look at this. Man, the fuel coming out of this old fuel filter is full of crud. There's all kinds of little particulates, dirt, rust, who knows what coming out of this thing. And that is just the loose fuel pouring out of this thing. Who knows what's caught in the actual filter media? I hope the point of this video is coming through here. This fuel filter is not that old. It definitely has a lot more life in it, but I wanted to show you just how dirty they can be. Fuel filters are not that expensive, and as you just saw, in my case, it was very easy for me to change. Not a fun job by any means, but definitely rewarding knowing that my truck is now breathing a little easier. Have you guys changed your fuel filters recently? If you have, comment below and let me know. All right, guys. I am Jimmy with One Road. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up and also subscribe if you're not already. You can also catch me on Instagram at One Road Garage and my website at oneroadgarage.com. Again, I'm Jimmy, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.